Good morning. It's a Bitcoin morning brief. We have Jimmy, Tone, maybe a surprise guest with Giacomo. I hope that everybody is having a great day. This is going to be a fun one. Tone, how's it going? I know you're traveling soon.
Yeah, no, everything's good. Had still got so much to do. I actually want to clean up my place before I leave again. It's not gonna be that long of a trip. Only gonna be away for 10 days. Ireland and London. So if you're in those areas, I'll be speaking at the Money Conference in Ireland. It's actually a really big conference. It's like a Money 2020 kind of conference. There's like 500 speakers, God knows how many. And yeah, so I was like trying to book an Airbnb yesterday. It was not easy. Like there's no more hotels in all of Dublin. Like it's that bad right now. It's this conference is huge.
So you always drink tequila. You're going to have some beer?
So that's gonna be a big problem for Ireland and London because it's my summer of no beer. And London and Ireland is really, really bad for me to be on this health diet at the moment. So I don't know what I'm
That's
gonna do.
that's blasphemy. You're going to get in trouble. Jimmy, how's everything going?
It's going well. Just busy as ever, but yeah, that's how it's better than not being, not having work and stuff. So, just dealing with what I have to deal with, I guess.
True.
I have
Wait,
to,
what's your shirt?
I have to look good for the cruise. Forgot to mention that in September. That's why I work it out.
It's just so that you could have the washboard abs.
I don't know if I'll ever get there.
Well, I mean, I was watching some YouTube videos of this guy that basically didn't eat for 28 days, and he was like really overweight, and then slowly he shrank, and by the end of 28 days of just drinking water, he actually looked normal. He was like morbidly obese before, and 28 days later, he had like washboard abs. It's kind of pretty crazy, but it is possible to do if you're motivated enough, Tone. You just need some motivation. That's all.
I hope this does not become the new Bitcoin carnivory situation, because that's, yeah, but you could do that.
What's wrong with carnivory, Leah? Why are you blaspheming here?
I won't knock anything till I learn a little bit more information. I know I did 23andMe and I was pretty high on the Neanderthal percentage. I don't know if that's okay. All right, let's get going on this. We're on a time crunch, guys.
All right.
All right, so another crypto exchange is rolling out a token-based ETF. I added this story because I think that the story as it's currently written is going to confuse people. So CoinGuess, straight put, if I understand this, Tone's gonna have fun, screwed up the story. It's not an ETF, it's actually an ETT. And all it actually is a small bucket of like 6 cryptos that people can buy and sell. Unfortunately, OKB is actually one of the 6. And unfortunately, the platform is run by OKEx and the ETF is run by OKEx and it's completely centralized. So I would see it as a way of, getting their token alongside the big ones. So Tony, you can have fun, but I also wanted to scroll down to the bottom to have you speak to as well. Which it says, unlike watchdogs in the United States, which haven't given the green light to crypto ETFs in the country, market regulators in Hong Kong have not taken a public stance on the issue. So what do you think about this story? Maybe I'm totally incorrect, but also if you could speak to this last point.
It just seems so silly. It's just like another Chinese gimmick. And that's exactly what it sounds like. What does ETT stand for? Exchange Traded Token? Oh, they don't say. Okay.
Well, look, there's a hyperlink to ETT right there, Leah. Just click on it and see what it says.
All right. It goes to
doesn't say what.
Their fun stuff.
Yeah, it's not clear what the ETT
was he scroll down a little bit?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, exchange traded token. There it is. Variety of track token. Maybe it's exchange tracked token. All right. So OK06 ETT, is that an ERC20 in itself? Like this is the craziness, right? Like, is this gonna be an ICO of its own? Backed by 6 other tokens, one of which is OKB. And I can't believe, I'm not even sure which one is worse to be on this list. OKB or EOS, which may or may not have launched this weekend, right? Like it's really like, hey, I run the OKCoin exchange. What tokens am I holding? I'm holding these. Let's make another token that's going to hold the same portfolio that I'm holding so that other people will buy into my nonsense, and my nonsense is going to make me rich. This is just like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And these are the people that used to blame Wall Street for, finance, stupidity, and engineering.
Jimmy, what were your thoughts on this one?
I mean, there's a market for this stuff because people want broad-based exposure, and that's kind of what they're trying to do. But yeah, I don't really see this as that interesting. I mean, you can just go buy those things on your own, but for some reason, people want to go. I think a lot of the people that already have exposure to this stuff. This is just sort of like slightly more legitimatizing, I guess. I don't see it as a very interesting thing.
As an exchange, right? As an unregulated exchange, it does make a lot of sense, right? Because, hey, why do you want to hold 6 different tokens? All you have to do is hold this one token, and we will, maintain those 6 for you, and we will charge a 2% annual fee on your holding in order to maintain that ETT token, right? I mean, that's exactly how a lot of these things function. This is how GBTC functions with just one token, being Bitcoin. They charge you 2% to manage and hold it for you. Now, the S&P 500 ETF charges a 0.05% fee versus the Bitcoin Savings and Trust charging you a 2% fee. So it's basically a gimmick for the exchange to make more money from you. But then again, as an exchange, they make money from you trading one, crazy token for another. So I'm not sure why the exchange would really want to do this. But hey, if they get to charge you a 2% management fee, that's great. It's less work for them, more money.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's just an index of those 6 coins. Just to note, EOS is on that list. So that's fun. And again, yeah, so is their token. So yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to cover it. Now on to DHL. So DHL announced a partnership with global blockchain trade finance platform Trade9. It's Roman numerals. Not quite sure how they want me to pronounce that one. So yeah, I mean, pretty simply put, as per the title, Jimmy, doesn't seem like this one's a blockchain either. What did you think about this story? And maybe a question that I did want to ask you is, given your piece on alternatives, maybe, they're just announcing that they're looking into it. Maybe they can hire you as the expert. What do you think that maybe they could do instead?
Well, can you scroll down a little bit?
Yep.
I mean, you can see like a lot of buzzwords here, and it doesn't actually say what it is that they're trying to achieve even. And this is what I've been complaining about. It's that, these press release, proof of press release is, I think, Giacomo's.
Proof of news.
Yeah, proof of news. That's all this is. It's proof of news. They haven't made anything. They just want some buzz. They probably have some internal department in charge of innovation or something, and they need to put out a press release every 6 months so that they can justify their salaries. This is one of those things. I mean, they're looking into it. Like a lot of companies that look into it and don't actually do anything. It's kind of sad. And I don't think this means anything. I don't know what they're trying to achieve. Very likely they don't really need a blockchain. They're just using the buzzword to get more people to be, I don't know, to look more with it or something.
Tone, what was your take? I know you also love supply chain management blockchains.
Yeah, I know it's pretty silly. I just sent you the link to that, one of my favorite articles about supply chains, and it explains how like stupid they are. Blockchain and supply chains, it's completely ridiculous. I should probably add that to the video description. If not, you guys should just Google that title. And it look, I understand why DHL is doing it because FedEx is doing it, right? So FedEx, they made some waves. They signed up with another company that's promising them a blockchain. So DHL signed up with a company that's promising them a blockchain. None of these are blockchains. There's really it's really like, even if there is, let's say, a 10% efficiency in using an actual blockchain like the Bitcoin blockchain in your supply chain management, it's going to come with like an 80% more headaches and costs, and it's not going to be cheaper. It's not going to be faster. It's not going to do anything you really want it to do, but you can use it. It doesn't really make sense. It's all becoming a big, mess of groupthink that, hey, if everyone believes that FedEx is on the cutting edge of database technology with a blockchain, we're going to lose business. So we might as well waste some money with a different company that's promising us a blockchain so that we don't lose, business with FedEx stealing our customers, saying how we don't understand the latest technology when they don't either. Like, it's getting really bad. Like, it's Jimmy's favorite phrase. Like, no one's willing to, like, and instead of DHL saying how stupid FedEx is, they're just joining them.
We have some big names in this piece, but that's nothing new from all the various industries of big names that are talking about blockchain, as to the many points that you've made, Jimmy. Everybody check out the piece, and we shall move on to Indonesia. I wish I was supposed to go to Indonesia this summer, and now can't because of my knee. So this did make me a little sad, but it was fun. Okay. So reports, crypto now considered a commodity on Indonesia's stock exchange. So very simply put, they're calling it a commodity, and that obviously, has different laws, taxes, and regulations behind what things are called, instruments. So what I do find interesting is that, we're currently fighting in the United States about what it is. Is it a commodity? Is it a currency? Is it a security? And the Bank of Indonesia is now saying that we did a 4-month study and we're going to call it a commodity. So in my opinion, it's less of a story that it's called a commodity in their eyes, but that they've decided that they think that this is what it is, and they've sorted through the crap, and they're going to make a decision on it. But still, TBD a bit. Tone, what was your thoughts on this statement?
I mean, it's at least they took 4 months, looked at it, and thought about it, right? So I got to give them some credit here. So they're labeling it a commodity, which in a way, Bitcoin is kind of like a commodity. And when it gets traded as leveraged, it does get traded like a commodity. It's good that they label it a commodity, and they're allowing their traditional exchanges to offer Bitcoin to their customers. Again, the problem is going to be who's responsible for the storage and security of that Bitcoin. Now, in reality, you really want that storage to be handled by a regulated institution. But on the other hand, a regulated institution may not have a full understanding of what encompasses the safe storage of Bitcoin. This is where people from the crypto space and the crypto exchanges kind of have an advantage when it comes to security and storing the Bitcoin, where the crypto exchanges have a huge disadvantage is that most of them are inexperienced in being an exchange, and the probability of your average person working for a crypto endeavor, I believe, is a lot less ethical than a person working in a traditional finance space. That's kind of been my experience in the crypto space over the last 4 years. I know a lot of people will disagree, but a lot of those people never worked in traditional finance, so you can't really have an opinion unless you've been on both sides. They're not saying anything about it being used as a currency in Indonesia, and I think the jury's still out on that. So if they make it illegal as a currency but make it legal as a commodity, that's kind of weird. The fact that they shut down the crypto exchanges, again, it's a regulatory play. If they feel that the people running those crypto exchanges are not are not up to par with the traditional finance space, they could potentially be right. I mean, it's kind of debatable, right? I know a lot of libertarians think there should be no barrier to entry ever, and that you can just call yourself a doctor and operate on people without, any kind of licensing. The finance space almost works the same way. Like, you kind of need some experience in order to run an exchange, whether traditional or crypto. And a lot of these exchanges are popping up with zero experience. So again, it's a debate. It's a debate we can have. But at least they're thinking about it. I give Indonesia some credit. They're doing something.
Right. Yeah, that's very interesting, Jimmy. I'd love to hear your take. And also, my understanding, even though they're saying it that they're not recognizing cryptocurrencies as a legal medium of exchange, that it's not technically illegal either. And that I've learned actually that they still have interesting stores, especially in Bali, where it's still being traded, even though the Bank of Indonesia is trying to put all these regulations on it. So, potentially a hypothesis I'll put out there is just they don't know how to regulate it. Obviously, there's huge red tape all over Indonesia for not just anyone, but for all businesses that try to operate in that country. So maybe they feel like, they needed to make a stance right now, try to do something about it because they probably don't know how to regulate it. But yeah, my understanding is that it's still being used in certain ways, even though the government is saying that it shouldn't, etc. So maybe finally a stance. But Jimmy, what was your take and thoughts on what's going on in Indonesia?
I mean, it's really hard for me to say. This is one of those, bureaucrats got to be bureaucrats kind of thing. I mean, I don't like the distinctions seem very arbitrary to me. The regulation seems arbitrary to me. It's all just sort of like a very irrational game of I control you or something like that. I don't like it. I mean, I'm more libertarian than Tone is. I just I see this as another bureaucrat that's trying to get into the news or something. Yeah.
Makes sense. That makes sense.
I will add that like all of these shit coins are making this regulation a lot more complicated and a lot more, let's say, relevant. Like a lot of this garbage coming out of the crypto space, coming out of the shitcoin space. Oh, perfect! You got the next article up right on time as me saying that. A lot of this nonsense is gonna find its way to reflect on Bitcoin, and we're not gonna like it.
Absolutely. As for my piece, I couldn't agree more. And yeah, how can they regulate what's going on in Indonesia, and especially with the ineffectual government there? So yeah, I mean, we'll follow. I'm with you, Jimmy. It does actually sound like just a bureaucratic statement. It is a statement as of right now, but it doesn't seem like, even though the government has made strong, apparently, quote unquote, strong statements in the past, that it's actually done anything. Especially because it's still traded. It's still, you're able to get fiat, etc. Anyways, yes, we're on to ZenCash. And the reason I wanted to throw ZenCash in today is because the ZenCash team has said that they are doing stuff in order to help mitigate the recent 51% hack. Now, there has been so many 51% hacks, especially in the past 2 months. I think, from Bitcoin Gold to Verge twice, right? To ZenCash. I mean, it's just all the time. You hear about these hacks, but especially the 51% attacks. And I guess it's just about time that I wanted to get into a bit of a deep dive into specifically, are any of these damn altcoins taking notice, acting on any lessons learned? And also just, this is because of questions from viewers from this show that have just been asking me more, specifically to ask Jimmy, Giacomo, and Tone to do a bit more deep dive into an analytic perspective on the entire ecosystem. And if there's any actionable advice, I'll move to Charlie Lee's tweet in a little bit. But yes, last statement on my piece, Tone is correct, is that when, just very simply put, when altcoins, shitcoins fuck up in the space, it does spill over onto the brand equity of Bitcoin. And so I do think it's very dangerous. And I do wish that, even though that, one, Bitcoin and altcoins should be completely separated in how we and everybody views the ecosystem. However, when this keeps happening, it is bad for Bitcoin. So I wish that someone would learn from this. So maybe, Jimmy, what did you think about this? Do you think that ZenCash's statement is legitimate? Is anyone actually going to start learning?
Well, you need a lot of pain before people actually learn stuff. And this is, I mean, what do you expect them to do, right? Like, you got 51% attack. If you don't release a statement, it's just looks really weak. And all of these ICOs, all of these altcoins are PR organizations to a large degree, and they need to say something. It's interesting because if something like this happened on Bitcoin, there wouldn't be a press release like this. It would just kind of get fixed on its own. There's no central entity for Bitcoin, but for all of these things, there's a clear central entity that goes, hey, everything is okay. Like, it reminds me of like the Iraqi guy during that war, where he was like, the US isn't coming into, Baghdad or whatever. And then like the next day he just sort of disappeared because the US had overrun Baghdad. Like, this is all propaganda. It's hard for me to know whether or not what they're saying in this press release has any connection to reality, because you could predict beforehand what they were going to say. They were going to say everything's okay. It's kind of more or less what they're saying, and it's just, that's what you expect them to say. And if you can predict what they're going to say, then how do you know there's any truth in whatever they're saying? So it's kind of I don't know. All of these things are propaganda mouthpieces. I don't really count them for anything. As far as actual 51% attacks, and I think there was a selfish mining attack on Monacoin and all this other stuff. People are going to have to learn that these are centralized things. And if you have a centralized thing and it gets attacked, they might have a bailout or something. But usually the solution that the devs come up with is more centralization. And I'm guessing that's what's going to happen with ZenCash and many other things. This is why decentralization is so important, right? Like, Ethereum at the beginning said code is law, and then they backed out on that because made it more centralized because they didn't like the press that it was giving. Yeah, same thing with ZenCash, same thing with all of these other coins. I mean, people are just going to have to learn the hard way.
Yeah, interesting. And I was starting to learn a bit about rent and attack methods, that it's getting actually much cheaper to attack coins. Is that true?
That there's some speculation that it is true. I don't actually know. It's hard to say. I've never tried to actually rent out hashing equipment.
It has to be true, because especially when you have more than one coin on the same kind of mining algorithm, right? I mean, it's just think of it from an economic game theory perspective, right? We have at least 5 coins that use the exact same mining equipment as Bitcoin that people consider relevant, right? We probably have at least 10 coins on, let's say, the script, right? Like Litecoin's using, that people are considering relevant. You also have whatever the hell Zcash and ZenCash are using considered relevant, right? So when you have multiple coins that people are considering relevant, and the leader in that space starts to somehow separate, right? Like, for example, Bitcoin has a pretty let's not even use Bitcoin, right? Let's use Litecoin. Like, Litecoin has pretty much separated from the other script algorithms. So right now, I believe there has been for a while now on Litecoin, oh, Litecoin doesn't have a pool with 61% mining anymore. They used to, right? But let's say there was a really big miner on Litecoin that continues to separate from other coins that people find viable. Like, I don't know, what's the next biggest script coin besides Litecoin? I don't know, maybe Dogecoin. Who the hell knows, right? Let's say Dogecoin. And and Dogecoin starts to pump in price a little bit for no reason other than speculation. But you are on Litecoin with a lot of hashing power, and you're like, oh man, all I gotta do is rent, maybe add like maybe 10% or 20% additional power to what I currently have on Litecoin, shift it over to Dogecoin for a day, and I can completely scam the whole network and reverse a transaction for $50 million. And this is what's going to easily continue to happen as the leader in your script, in your algorithm, separates from the shit coins, right? Until a point where only a single coin will be trusted somewhat to not be 50% attacked, 51% attacked within each type of a proof of work algorithm. I mean, if your proof of stake is just complete nonsense, right? So let's just talk about proof of work, the actual innovation here. And then eventually, that would give us like one coin will separate from the rest within each group until eventually Bitcoin will continue to separate from the rest of them, because you're still talking about the use of electricity and investment in mining. It's the only way this thing makes sense, where there will always be one winner. And these people at ZenCash are just totally clueless, and they continue to like pitch their garbage to people that believe that they need this blockchain for the sole purpose of censorship-resistant messaging system of text messages. Like, it's just totally dumb.
Yeah, and to Darwinist, but I agree with you completely. And Jimmy, to your point, I also agree. I'm not as libertarian, but I would hope that from the, let's say, bleeding, that finally people are going to learn. I mean, finally, some of these companies are going to learn, only in that this is happening so damn often. So many people are getting hurt, and it's just muddying the waters even more. I'm surprised that these alts aren't going away as quickly as they should, that people keep investing in it.
What you actually need is a reliable way to short, and that would definitely make it possible to make money off of some of these exploits. The reason people aren't doing it is because there's no easy way to monetize an exploit right now. If you do find an exploit, if you do 51% attack, then you get, you can double spend it or whatever, but you also cause the coin to go down, and you have some more of that worthless coin. Whereas if you are able to short that coin and then you do that exploit and it comes down, then you make a lot more money. So, I mean, at some point, somebody's, I think the only coins that can really be shorted reliably right now are Bitcoin and Ethereum. As more of these coins are more reliably able to be shorted, I think you'll see more of these exploits come on. But I mean, who knows? Well, who knows if that will ever happen or whatever. But that's, that's one of those things that you should look out for.
Yep. Jimmy, weather report's up.
Yeah. So can you scroll down just a little bit? Yeah, you can see that giant blue blob that was there yesterday got eaten up overnight, right? Like starting at around 10:30 p.m. All the way to about 1 a.m. There was like basically nothing. Mempool was getting cleared every 10 minutes. And then some more stuff came on starting at around 8, 9, 10 a.m. Right now, there was a big spike at around 10:30, but it's still reasonable. Some more urgent transactions seem to be going on right at this moment. So if you want to get in on the next block, you're probably gonna have to pay on the 30 Satoshi per byte range. But if you do 2 Satoshi per byte, I'm sure you can get it in the next few hours. So. Yeah, I mean, I think there's UTXO consolidation going on. A lot of companies are seeing an opportunity to do that, so that makes sense.
Great, thanks, Jimmy. And Tone, what's going on with price?
Let's take a look. Looks like there is another short squeeze. Like man, short sellers just can't get your goddamn break.
Right after Jimmy's comment on it.
Yeah. So let's look at the weekly chart. So the weekly chart, it's still a red candle. Still expecting it to stay a red candle the rest of the week. There's room. Let's see. Let's see what happens. We're on a 4 of 9. My target remains $5,000 in July, $49.75 to be exact. For the trolls out there that are going to say I'm wrong if it reverses at $49.90. But $49.75 is my target. And let's see what happens. Ideally, I would like it to come the week of 2nd of July, maybe towards the end of that week for a nice, swift rebound back to the upside. That would kind of put everything perfectly. And hopefully that will be the bottom. So I remain pretty bearish here. The daily chart is on an 8 of 9. Again, I was hoping that 9 would show up tomorrow in the vicinity of 8,000. It can still do that. Bitcoin can still pump into 8,000 over the next 48 hours. I mean, anything can happen. This is why trading is so difficult. But it's not looking very likely. Now, my view on it, let's see how this 9 comes about. Though the chances of getting that 9 would need to be, the price would have to be higher. The only way we're going to get a 9 tomorrow, or at least a red arrow with a 9 at some point during the 24-hour period tomorrow, is if the price of Bitcoin trades above 76.40. So we would need a print of Bitcoin above 76.40 in order to capture a possible 9 tomorrow, which could either set us up for a full-blown reversal or a little correction then to the upside. Okay. It's not going to be a perfected 9. That's going to be difficult as well, because in order to get a perfected 9, we would the price of Bitcoin would need to go above 77.70 pretty much. The price of Bitcoin would need to be above 77.80 in order to get a perfected 9, right? And there is some debate over is a perfected 9 needed or not for the price to go down. So the sequential indicator is, it could be tricky, could be very tricky. Now, I still think that the move over the last 24 hours, the down move was the legitimate move. But as the volume continues to go down, look, there was a lot of people that bought a lot of Bitcoin in the $6,000 range. And they really don't want to see it go back to that $6,000 range, because these people don't want to panic. So a lot of these people will probably, spend more money and defend this area of the price. The thing is, I don't think it's going to be enough. And I think these people will panic. And they will panic with even more Bitcoin to panic with. And this is why you get these monster descending triangles that look like this red triangle. Let me make this bigger. Like this red triangle that you see here. And then the way it ends is with like a giant, really bad day, like a really bad day. This is a daily chart, guys. So on this day, the price of Bitcoin opened at $13,600. The low was 9,940. You realize that we fell almost $4,000 in one day. We fell $3,500 in one day. And then you had this red triangle here that, again, once it broke, the high of that, the opening was at 10,300, let's say, that vicinity. And the low came in at 8,900. So this one fell, $1,300 in one day from the $10,000 area. This one fell $3,000 in one day, $3,500 from the $13,500 area, right? These are monster moves out of descending triangles. And the bigger this triangle is, the bigger the fallout is going to be, because when these people panic, they kind of panic hard. So let's see what happens. I'd rather it, make this damn low already so we can go to the upside. But if these trends continue to break, we could kind of get stuck here for a little while longer and won't bottom for a little bit of time. Here's the 12-hour chart. This is a bit of a problematic candle. I mean, you want everything to be smooth based on a 12-hour chart. Looked like a beautiful rejection at the 77.50 area. It was all looking good to go back to the bottom of this giant symmetric triangle that I have drawn on a 12-hour chart. The current candle is coming in with very little volume, so I don't know what that means yet. Let's see how this day closes. It can certainly go back down. I mean, I wouldn't mind paying a few more bills sometime today if the price continues to go up. And then if we do break above 77.50, then the $8,000 and even $8,200 target gets put back on the table. Because guess what? If we break this 77.50 area sometime 2 or 3 days from now, we'll be above all the moving averages on the 12-hour chart with absolutely no resistance and open air towards 8,200. Though the $8,000 area will be nice round number resistance. So let's just see how this candle ends. And if you had the short play somewhere in here, your stop loss probably should have gotten hit already. And now you're just waiting for it to decide on direction. If it goes above 77.50, then your play is probably to go long. If it starts to show weakness and goes back below 7,400, your play is probably to go short. But because of the early morning strength in price, not in volume, I would be cautious here and more of a neutral short-term position. This doesn't look like it has the right price, or does it? It doesn't. Why is that? That's better. Yeah, something didn't look right. Oh wow, look at that 9 reversal of the 4-hour chart. So those of you that have been trading the 4-hour chart, look at this absolute beautiful doji taking place on the candle, on the 8th candle. You have this beautiful 9 and boom, a reversal. Now look at your momentum, right? Your momentum is not looking very good. I think the probability of this move breaking above 7,700 is kind of small. This is one of those 9s on the 4-hour where I would look for a 1-4 candle reversal. We are on candle 2 of a 1-4 candle reversal. And you can even potentially count this 9 as the first candle in the reversal, because there's your reversal candle. And it's possible this move has already come to an end. Now, if you're going to be cautious here, you wait for the 7,400 to break to the downside, and then the drop should certainly accelerate back to the lows and lower, kind of like this, right? Now, there is no straight line here, but because this is our only 9, it's our only 9 in this stretch below 7,500. I would, at first sign of weakness, back to 7,400, will probably open the floodgates down. But yeah, so looks like maybe people have been trading this 4-hour chart because the 4-hour chart has been very good with this indicator on trades. And finally, we have the 1-hour chart. You can see everything took place in one candle. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention your CMF isn't exactly screaming. Let's this thing is going back to the upside. The 1-hour chart doesn't really give you much. I would be careful here, consider a no trade zone. If you go back down below half the height of this candle, it's not likely that the lows are going to hold. The $7,400 lows are going to hold. So I remain fairly bearish. Just a look at gold. Nothing's really going on. You got a 9 coming in tomorrow. Or that's the gold silver ratio. Talked about that on that last show. This is the silver. This is the silver descending triangle, which could break to the upside, but the downside is the more statistical look. Again, silver. Oops, I think that was the one that I actually wanted. Yeah, check out the last trading Bitcoin with me and Tyler, where we talked about like gold and silver and lots of other assets. More silver. There's the NASDAQ, right? This is the NASDAQ daily. I warned about the 9 coming in. I warned about this. When did we do the show? 2 days ago, I believe. I warned to keep an eye on this 9. And look, it's already giving you a bit of a reversal candle on the NASDAQ. So take this seriously, guys, because Wall Street does. So I'm not surprised that you have a bit of a pullback here today, specifically off of this 9 candle. It'll most likely be a 1 to 4 candle correction, then a continuation of the upswing into a countdown. But you wait for it to prove it to you on a reversal. And but because the weekly chart of NASDAQ still has room. We have a 13 this week, and we have a 9 coming in tomorrow. Okay, no, not tomorrow. Sorry, next week. So just keep that in mind. Back to daily on the NASDAQ. Do I have anything else to look at? S&P weekly, same thing. They're following the same pattern. Also on an 8, though lower low than the 2 prior lows. Very different looking chart. And this is the daily S&P, which does not have that same 9 that the NASDAQ does. The S&P has been significantly weaker. That's about it. This is the weekly yields, or the weekly bonds, sorry. This is the weekly yields. The weekly yield, the monthly yield hit a 9 and is giving you a bit of a reversal. If I go to the weekly yield, a bit neutral right now by my calculation. That's about it. Tonebase.com. We have migrated the educational section of Learn Trading into tonebase.com. So almost completely Liberty Life Trail has been decommissioned. I'm going to upgrade this section. I can definitely put in some more explanations, maybe get some background in here. Still working on the website, of course. Check out the homepage, a nice new picture. And if you click on this picture, it'll take you to the photo gallery with additional pictures for conferences and stuff. Also, check out this playlist. This is a playlist of all of my public appearances on like Cheddar. No, actually not Cheddar. I don't have that one. On RT and other documentaries and stuff. And of course, the workshops. I'm in Ireland this weekend. You still have 13 seats left, plenty of seats left. It will be a nice small group. That's fine. So please check that out. It's a full day boot camp on technical analysis and trading. London is selling pretty well. Just 4 seats left the following Saturday. And Montreal on June 23rd. So this is my 3 weeks of travel. And we added Boston. Okay. Boston. People asking me for Boston. I know Atlanta's been calling as well. Boston has been added for August 4th. Then Vegas and Spain. And there's a full schedule here because Germany is on that list as well. Berlin, Germany as well. And I'm going to add more cities. So let's see how we do. And if I only sell out like 5 seats in each, then clearly I'm doing too many. All right, I think I rambled long enough. Let's bring it back to Leah and Jimmy.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Tone, I do like the new website. I think most people probably do. Not going to lie on that front. It's exciting. You're leaving Thursday. Jimmy, any upcoming seminars? And
yeah, I'm going to be in Sao Paulo next week. I'm going to teach a bunch of people. You can sign up for Denver. The deadline for the early bird rate is coming up in about a week or so. And of course, I'm doing San Francisco after that. Surprisingly, not as many people are interested in San Francisco at the moment. But hey,
Jimmy, I'm noticing the same thing. Like when the price of Bitcoin goes down, even though I price my seminars in Bitcoin, right? So attending my seminar today is a lot cheaper than the 20 people that attended my seminar in December when the price of Bitcoin was like $18,000, right?
Uh-huh.
But here's what happens, right? If let's say you're a holder of like 3 Bitcoin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the price of my seminar is 0.1, but when Bitcoin is $20,000 each, right? And you're holding 3 Bitcoin, you're holding a lot of money, right? 3 Bitcoin, 20,000, you have $60,000. Losing 0.1 Bitcoin is not a big deal. But if those 3 Bitcoins are now adding up to only $20,000, losing 0.1 of that Bitcoin hurts.
Yeah,
So,
it's kind of a strange phenomenon. But yeah, we'll see. We got other income streams coming in and stuff. So, you know, we'll see how all that works. But yeah, certainly there's a lot of stuff coming up, and you know the space is going to continue to grow, and you gotta think long term with this stuff. A lot of people are, you know, sort of very short term sensitive, when in fact, if you want to build for the future, you got to think long term. Anyway, yeah, that's what's going on. We got Sao Paulo and you know. Denver and San Francisco coming up, possibly Chicago. I'll see what happens there. And I don't know what this Vegas thing is gonna do. You should have Leah TA your trading seminars or something.
yeah, I should. Leah's getting there. She's gonna be running them for me one day.
Oh boy.
You're gonna have to license it so Leah can stop being an adult. Yeah.
I've been doing a better job. Jimmy, you also accept payment in Bitcoin, right?
Of course, that's actually the preferred way, and I make it purposefully very difficult and expensive to pay me any other way. So.
Perfect. Well, Tone, I'm really sorry that you're talking about this. Maybe we'll see you living in the trailer, and hopefully with the machete and the axe, there won't be too many more videos of that. But is that kind of where it's trending?
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I like my free electricity out there. I have to be able to afford the electric bill if the price of Bitcoin keeps going down.
Unless your miner blows up, because we saw that you don't know how to set that one up.
No, I don't. I have a lot of respect for you miners. Not a lot of respect for your decision making with those miners, but a lot of respect for your technical expertise in running them.
All right. Well, Jimmy.
This song is done.
And Tone.
Good luck trading out there. Choppy waters.
Bye, everybody.